What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today we're going to talk about Fanatics and their very publicly stated goal of trying to 10x the sports card hobby and whether or not that's feasible. I think first things first, what do they mean when they say they want to 10x the hobby? What they're saying is they want to 10x the number of people buying sports cards, the sports card target market, right, in terms of customers. And so that what they're not saying is that they're going to make it so that your portfolio, the value of your sports cards is going to 10x. That is definitely not what they're saying. They're just trying to grow the number of customers for sports cards. And at first glance, like my first reaction is like 10x. That seems very challenging. It seems like a pie in the sky number. But the more I dug into it, the more I think it's possible. Now, do I know if it's going to happen? No, I don't. It could happen, it could not happen. But all I'm saying is that it is possible because I don't know what their plans are. Nobody knows what their plans are. We've heard a few tidbits here and there from them at the TOPS conference, but is it actually feasible is a question that I've been pondering because 10x, like, it's hard to 10x anything. It's not done often, right? But the one way you would 10x it is if you stopped doing things the way that they've always been done and started doing things differently. And to Michael Rubin's credit, he's the CEO of Fanatics. He's doing exactly that. He is not hiring people from the sports cards world. He's hiring a guy from Red Bull. He's hiring a guy who did a bunch of player relations stuff for Clutch, which is the agency belonging to Rich Paul and with ties to LeBron. So he's definitely doing things that give him a shot at breaking outside what has been done in the past. Because if we had just followed that same path, it would not have had any chance at 10x. I confidently say that. So he's trying stuff. Fanatics is trying stuff. And there's going to be some hits and there's going to be some misses. And we heard some of those new ideas at the TOPS conference, such as the frozen factor, which, just to be blunt, I think it's kind of silly. But they are also the team that are coming up with ideas like a Tom Brady Bowman Chrome or baseball card with an auto on it. I think that's a hit. That's a great idea, right? So they're trying new things, which is more than what I can say was happening under Panini, with their new products. And so I think that they have the right approach. The other thing that they have going for them is this guy, Michael Rubin, CEO of Fanatics. If you're someone who might think that it's impossible to 10x the sports card hobby, I'd suggest you read up on Michael Rubin and what he's done, because I did, and I'm on his Wikipedia page, and it's pretty spectacular and fascinating. So we go through his career here. So first of all, he founded a company called KPR Sports here in 1993 when he was 21 years old. That company, KPR, reached $1 million in sales. 2 years later, in 95, it reached $50 million in sales. That's a 50x, okay? Not a 10x, a 50x from the time he was 21 to 23 for a company that he founded. Seems pretty good. Seems like this guy knows what he's doing. Seems like this guy has some hustle to him, right? Then he created a company called GSI. They sold it to eBay in 2011, 13 years after he founded it, for $2.4 billion. I'm going to assume that he more than 10x'd that number. And so you can see here, he got $150 million as part of that sale. And then when he sold it to eBay just wanted to have the order fulfillment business here so that they could compete with Amazon. So Rubin said, oh, you don't want this consumer business? I'm going to buy it back from you. Okay. And then he purchased Fanatics, which is obviously the company that it is now. If you were around 10 years ago, I don't know that you would have heard of Fanatics. But it is now, based off of the most recent valuation, it is now worth 31 billion. That's with a B, $31 billion in 2022. That's the latest valuation. In 2011, do you have any idea what they sold for? It's 277 million. So folks, that's not a 10x in 11 years. That is 110x. I actually did the math. 277 million, that's million with an M, to 31 billion with a B, 110x. So he's done this 3 times where he's more than 10x a company that he's taken over. So I don't know if he can do it a 4th time, but I'd say if there was ever a guy that can do it, it'd be him. And I certainly would not say that it's impossible. Whether or not he can follow through, you can say, I am optimistic, I'm pessimistic, but I don't. The one thing the one thing you can't say is that it is impossible, because it clearly is. And if you're someone that says it's impossible to 10x the sports card hobby, I would ask you, do you think it's possible to 10x or 100x a company that does sports apparel? If I'd asked you that before what I just showed you, you would have said no. It's sports apparel. Sports apparel has been around for decades. How would you 10x such an established company and industry like sports apparel? There's no way you could 10x that. Well, guess what? Michael Rubin did it. He bought a company for 277 million and made it into a $31 billion company. 110x the value of the company that was in a very established space in terms of sports apparel. That is basically sports cards. So I would say, do I know how to 10x a company? No. Do you know how to 10x a company? No. Does anybody in the sports card hobby know how to 10x the sports card? Sorry. Does anybody in the sports card hobby have the leadership to 10x the entire industry? I would say no. But if there's one guy on planet Earth that's going to be able to do it, I'm going to say it's this guy. So that's the video. Just a quick one here to give my thoughts on the whole 10x number that is being very widely talked about and discussed, and clearly stated as a goal for Fanatics. And for those of you that are in the United States of America, you can 10x a company by having a lot of growth outside of the US. I'm just going to drop that right there for you. So with that being said, I hope you found this video interesting, and thanks for listening and watching, and I will talk to you all next week. Cheers.